All right, so now we're going to talk about how to just do some more work with scatter plots. Now that we've figured it out, we want to practice just a little bit more. So just as some refresh, let's go ahead and talk about these scatter plots that we see here. It wants to know if it has a positive and negative or no correlation. Here you can see they're just everywhere, so this is no correlation. Moving across, we're going in that downward trend. That means it's a negative correlation. As we look at number 3, you're moving upwards, all basically in the same area. This is a great positive correlation. Same thing with number 4, but this is an even better representation. Everything's really nicely aligned. And this is really nicely aligned for a negative correlation. And this just looks like a weird circle, so this would be a no correlation. Here we have an example of some ideas. It says a history teacher asked her students how many hours of sleep they had the night before a test. The data below shows the number of hours the student, the student slept and their score on the exam. So we're going to start by putting points on here. Hours slept is time, so it goes down here with the X, while the test scores go over here on the Y. So, when you had 8 hours sleep, this student got an 83, which would be right about there. This person got 7 hours sleep and got an 86. This person got 7 hours in sleep and got a 74. This person got 8 hours of sleep and got an 88. 6 hours of sleep with a 76. 5 hours of sleep with a 63. 7 hours of sleep with a 90. 4 hours of sleep with a 60. 9 hours of sleep with an 89. And 7 hours of sleep with an 81. So now we've looked at that. What type of correlation does that appear? Not that it's been asked, but let's talk about it. That's definitely a nice example of a positive correlation. Seems the more hours of sleep you get, the better your test score. Here it says, assume that during a 3-hour period spent outside, a person recorded the temperature and their water consumption. The experiment was conducted on 7 randomly selected days during the summer. The data is shown below. So let me over here just a little bit. It says on day 1, the temperature was 99 and the water consumption, which is down here on X, was 48 ounces. So in the temperature, let's see, 48 ounces, you had a temperature of 99. On day 2, it was 85 degrees outside and they consumed 27 ounces. So 27 ounces is going to be right about there at 85 degrees. On day 3, it was 97 degrees outside and they consumed 48 ounces. On day 4, it was 75 degrees outside and they had 16 ounces of water. On day 5, it was 92 outside and they had 32 ounces of water. On day 6, it was 85 outside and they had 25 ounces of water. And on day 7, it was 83 degrees and they had 20 ounces of water. All right, again, we see that positive correlation. You drink more water as the temperature rises. Last thing we have is these things, and it says identify if these were positive, negative, or no correlation. So I'm going to use a plus for positive, a negative symbol for negative, and no for no correlation. The number of hours a person is driven and the number of miles driven. The longer you drive, the further you go. So that's positive. The number of siblings a student has and the grade they have in math class. No correlation. The age of the car and the value of the car. unless it's like crazy old and it's considered antique, your price or your value of your car goes down as time passes. Heck, you barely get it off the lot and you've already lost value. The number of weeks a CD has been out and the total sales. So the longer a CD or a book or anything else is out, the less the sales. So that would also be negative. The number of years a person went to school and their income should be positive. However, that's not guaranteed. So I'm actually going to say no correlation, because depending on what your job title is, your income may not be as high as somebody who maybe didn't go to college at all, but they've got a trade that they're involved in. So it doesn't necessarily matter. The number of songs downloaded on your iPod and the amount of memory. So the more you put onto your phone, your iPod, whatever, the less memory you have. So that's a negative correlation. The amount of time spent on the computer, instant messaging your friends, and the number of computers in your house. No correlation. The age of a house and the number of people living in the house. No correlation. And that's it. Have a wonderful day.